Liverpool splash out £145 million on a new star, but is he actually worth it? Is Vinicius off to the Premier League? Barcelona lining up a move for Tottenham's star defender? And Real Madrid have won the race to sign Yan Diomande. Manchester City still can't get Rodri to sign the thing, and it's slowly turning into the biggest headache of their window. The Guardian reckon the mood inside the club is upbeat. They believe they'll sort it, but upbeat isn't a signature, is it? His deal runs out next June. The renewal offer's been sat on the table for ages. Really long time. Rodri won't sign it, won't comment on it, just won't sign. And in football, that kind of silence gets read the same way every single time. Real Madrid read it first. People used to think their interest was a long shot. The Atletico past, the obvious complications, all that. Then Rodri dragged his country to a World Cup win, wearing the armband, and Madrid's stance changed overnight, especially since the lad himself once said something they've clearly printed off and stuck on the wall over there. Something like playing for Atletico wouldn't stop him joining Real. It's happened before. Not direct moves, but in time. And he added, "You don't say no to one of the best clubs in the world." That's it. Invitation written, envelope opened. The fitness worries? Summer sorted those. 2 seasons of injury hell, and then he goes and plays a whole tournament. Mind you, once he's back from North America, there's a back operation coming. But that hasn't slowed the market down for a second. Players like this get a cue no matter what's on the treatment table. Inside Madrid, they're already sketching out how to rebuild the middle of the park. Aurelien Tchouameni and Eduardo Camavinga. Those names keep popping up. Manchester United are watching closely. Barcelona and PSG are linked too. Although Paris took one look at their own midfield and decided there's no point strengthening it this summer, now the numbers. Madrid are ready to go up to 51 million quid. City's answer is short. Don't even ring us below 68. 17 million apart. Both sides just sat there waiting to see whose nerve cracks first. Madrid are hoping the English lot soften up in the coming weeks. Otherwise, it's a wait until 2027. For City, the job's dead simple. Sign the paper, close the story. Rodri's been the heart of this machine for years. Control, calm, elite level in the big games. When City played their best football, he was pretty much always the key. City have a strong case, obviously. He knows the place, knows what's expected, knows his own worth. But time's against them. Drag this into autumn and the pressure triples. The papers won't shut up about it. Rivals push harder. They need clarity and fast. Time to turn the optimism into ink. Keeping Rodri matters more right now than buying a new superstar. And, to be honest, it's a lot harder. Tottenham fancy Jules Koundé. French lad from Barcelona, does a bit of everything, plays right back and centre-half. Spurs are lining up an offer. The Spanish press are talking £55 million. The club's first thought was around 51. Small gap, but the haggling here is going to be nasty. You can see Spurs is thinking, Christian Romero's off in the summer. That leaves a hole in defence the size of a captain. They need to patch it sharpish. Koundé covers 2 positions in one body. Right back, centre half, the gaffer gets a 2-in-1. That kind of quality always looks tasty. Only thing is, Tottenham have got a lot more than one hole. They need a striker who scores regularly. They need better on the wings. And they're about to lump 50 million on a defender. From the outside, it looks a bit all over the place. Then again, North London have lived by one rule for years. Fix whatever's on fire the loudest today. Now Barcelona. And here's where it gets fun. Koundé signed a new deal in August 2025. Runs to the 30th of June 2030. So the Catalans are sat in a lovely spot. No panic, no deadline, no contract running down. If they want to sell, they'll sell. If they don't, they'll tell you to do one. Politely. 55 million is exactly the mark where Barça are willing to listen. Not agree, just listen. They're desperate for cash. Registering new signings, the wage cap, the endless La Liga maths, Selling Kounde gives them air, lets them do a couple more bits of business. Barca's accountants love deals like this. But there's one man in the way of this lovely little plan, Kounde himself. He's saying publicly he sees himself in the Blaugrana shirt, points to the long contract, calm, no tantrums, but firm. And without the players' say-so, this move doesn't budge an inch. Then there's the replacement question. These last few seasons, Kounde's basically moved into the right-back slot. Take him out and you either buy a new fullback or shuffle someone across. The problem just moves from one office to another. Someone at Barca's already sat there with a notepad working out if it's worth the bother. Funny little detail. Pedro Porro's name came up as a possible replacement, and the Spaniard belongs to Tottenham. Could have been neat, swap favours, offset the fees, everyone happy. But nobody's confirmed Porro's part of any deal. Right now, it's just a nice idea in someone's head. Kounde leaving would reshape Barca's whole rotation at the back, change the minutes for the centre halves, affect decisions in the last weeks of the window. The club know all this. That's why they're not rushing. There's no final decision to sell. There's interest and there's a price tag. That's it. Now it's over to Tottenham. Time to turn the chatter into a signed piece of paper. No offer, no story. London's decided to live large again. Arsenal are lining up a contract for Vinicius Jr., the likes of which the club's never seen. And this isn't a shy little inquiry, this is a statement. The Gunners already strengthened this summer, the squad looks done, but the appetite's only grown. They want another attacking monster, and they've gone for the most expensive one going. Look at the numbers. The Brazilian's on around 450 grand a week in Madrid. Arsenal's top earner is Bukayo Saka on 400 grand. So to prize Vinny out, you don't just have to beat Saka, you've got to blow up the whole wage structure. Smash it to bits. And while we're talking about smashing things, how about the army of you watching in pure silence smash the like button for once? It takes half a second. Imagine Saka's agent's face when he opens that news over his morning coffee. Exactly, but wages are only half the trouble. The other half sat in Madrid and goes by the name of Florentino Perez. Vinicius' deal runs out in 12 months. The renewal's stalling, no breakthrough in the talks. And that's when every predator in Europe pricks their ears up. Liverpool are watching, Manchester City are watching, Arsenal are watching loudest of all. Madrid want north of £137 million. And that's if they even sit down. The British record right now is £125 million for Alexander Isak. Arsenal would have to rewrite it for a player with 1 year left. You clock the madness of it. Florian Plettenberg reckons Arsenal are already prepping their first official offer. The player's people have been told everything. Madrid immediately fired back a counteroffer to Vinicius himself. Classic seesaw. One lot waving a wage sheet, the other lot waving a renewal. The agent sits in the middle, quietly smiling. He's laughing whatever happens. Madrid are hoping to push the renewal through after months of haggling. They know all about Mikel Arteta's lot, and that knowledge is handy to use when they're talking to the player. Why does Arteta want it? He needs pace on the wing. He needs chaos. He needs a man who can pull a low block apart on his own. Arsenal want to nail down what they've built at home and finally win the Champions League. Vinicius gives you the lot, the burst, the dribbling, goals, and a nervous twitch in defenders. There's logic to it. There's a second factor too. Jose Mourinho, Madrid's new gaffer. Vinicius comes back off his holidays and walks into a dressing room where everything's changed. How those two get on is a proper subplot. One loves freedom and improvising, the other loves discipline and work off the ball. Something tells me September won't be quiet. Arsenal themselves are keeping their feet on the ground for now. Inside the club, they see it as an opportunity, not a done deal. Nobody's booking the medical, nobody's prepping a presentation, they're just keeping a hand on the pulse, waiting for the moment something cracks in Madrid. The door's shut for now, but Arsenal are already stood on the step with a suitcase full of cash. Savinho's off to Tottenham. Well, that's the way it's heading. The Sun reckons Spurs have leapfrogged Milan in the race for the Manchester City winger. Talks between London and Manchester are moving along nicely. and there's a clear favourite now. The Brazilians become one of Tottenham's top targets this window. The club is still deep in a big rebuild. The man behind it all is De Zerbi. He wants pace, dribbling and creativity. Wants a player who adds a new dimension to the attack. They've been watching SAVINHO for over a year, and this week it's all sped up sharpish. The Italian gaffer doesn't mince his words either. Midfield rebuilt, defense rebuilt, now it's the attack's turn. They need important players. The top boys are already at the club, so there's no point signing run-of-the-mill footballers. They need proper operators. And when he says that, he means the Brazilian. Milan had a go too. First, the Italians looked at Phil Foden, then switched to something more realistic. Put together a loan with an obligation to buy for 43 to 47 million quid. Nice structure, payments spread out. Only they're behind in the talks. Tottenham are ready to put around 65 million on the table in cold, hard cash. The difference in approach is obvious. Manchester City haven't had an official offer off anyone yet, but they're willing to let him go on the right terms. One catch: mind. Replacement first. Until City find a new attacker, nobody's going anywhere. So the whole thing hinges on an office at the Etihad. Savinho's doing pre-season with City and waiting for the green light. Working, running, smiling, and mentally already packing his bags. He needs regular minutes. At this stage of his career, sitting in the rotation's pointless. City paid 34 million for him. The deal's alive, the interest maxed out, both sides are talking. All that's left is one line out of Manchester. Right, let him go. Leeds are about to make the most expensive signing in their history. James Trafford. £40 million plus 5 in add-ons. That's according to The Athletic, and the deal's already in the final stages. Not long ago, this pairing looked like a fantasy. Trafford's been linked with the Whites for months, but nobody really bought it. Newcastle were in the race. St James's Park looked a lot more logical, and then Leeds just walked in and took him. The lad's story is a cracker mind. Back in 2023, City sold him. 2 brilliant seasons at Burnley. Relegated from the Premier League, then bounced straight back up, and second time round, Trafford dragged them there. Last summer, City pulled the buyback clause for 27 million, brought him home, patted him on the head, and then signed Gianluigi Donnarumma from PSG. And that was that, curtain down. The Englishman became a bloke with a towel on the bench. The Italians nailed on between the sticks, and Maresca's got Marcus Bettinelli as the experienced number 2. Nothing for Trafford there. Let's count City's money. Bought for 27, selling for 40 guaranteed, plus a cut of the next sale. Modest but tidy profit in 12 months. Plus the wages saved. Manchester do deals like this in their sleep. For Leeds, it's a whole different story. Club record. Personal terms already agreed. Trafford's expected to become the highest earner at the club. And that's a proper statement. Leeds have seen off interest from bigger Premier League names. Talk to lad who's fighting for the England #1 shirt into coming to Elland Road. And the Whites aren't stopping there. They need a striker. They need an attacking midfielder. And they badly want Julian Brandt. The German's available on a free. He recently popped up at the training ground with his dad, had a chat with the top brass. Picture it, father and son wandering round the complex, nodding, asking questions about the facilities. Leeds are waiting on a decision, and they'll wait as long as it takes. A chance like this comes up once a season. One question left over at City. Will Viana bring in another experienced keeper before the window shuts, or reckon they've got enough depth for 4 competitions? The whole picture at the Etihad's flipped in a year, and Trafford finally gets the one thing you become a keeper for: a place in the goal every week. Yan Diomande turned up for RB Leipzig training on Monday. Smiling. The club stuck the photos on social media. Here he is, our lad. He's back. Touching. It might have been his last day in Germany. Mundo Deportivo say the 19-year-old winger from the Ivory Coast has already agreed personal terms with Real Madrid. The clubs are ironing out the details, In Spain, they reckon an announcement's coming any minute. In Germany, they're singing a different tune. Sky's Florian Plettenberg insists there's no final agreement between the clubs. Leipzig haven't turned down Madrid's second offer, but they haven't accepted it either. The Germans want more up front and less in performance bonuses. Classic. The seller doesn't believe the bonuses will ever get hit. The buyer swears they will. No breakthrough. And the numbers are frightening. Right now, the deal's valued at around £98 million. With the add-ons, the total could climb to 115. That's Real Madrid's transfer record, if everything lands. For a lad who started playing men's football yesterday, speaking of absolute madness, about 80% of you watch my videos every single week and still haven't clicked subscribe. It costs absolutely nothing, unlike this kid, so hit the button and ring the bell before I put myself on the transfer list. Madrid have seen off the reigning European champions in this one. PSG had already agreed personal terms with the player during the World Cup, then Los Blancos showed up, and the whole thing flipped. What Paris did next is not what you'd normally expect from them. They put out a statement, a blunt one, officially pulling their interest and ending all talks. The asking price and the players' wage demands are out of proportion. That kind of scale distorts the market. The club won't compromise on strict financial management and squad balance. You listen to that and you can't help but grin. PSG on distorting the market. But fair play. The stance is honest. For a whole month, they battled the Germans' demands and the players' people's appetite. At some point, they just got up from the table and slammed the door. Only a club in a strong position can afford to do that. Nobody's arguing about the kid's talent. Mind. Rapid winger. One of the most productive and effective dribblers in Europe. These days, teams either park the bus or man-mark you all over the pitch. A lad who beats his man one-on-one and instantly makes an extra body is worth his weight in gold. That's true, but the risk is massive. He's got no experience whatsoever. The ex-Leganés winger only made his senior debut in March 2025, ironically, against Real Madrid. His whole career is 60 games for club and country. 18 months ago, he was still finishing his studies at a private sports academy in Florida. Paris did the maths and said, at that money, no, especially since nobody was promising him a starting spot. Madrid did the maths and said, yes. The right wing's free, Mourinho's waiting at the training camp, 115 million for 60 games of experience. That's the market for you. Christian Romero's dug his heels in. The Tottenham captain wants Barcelona and nothing else. Everything else can do one. According to Sport, the Argentine hasn't given in to the green light, and he's still waiting on the Catalans to make their final move before the window shuts. His people have basically moved into Barca's sporting department these last few weeks. Calls, meetings, hints, and they're convinced the club's defensive plans could still change at the last second. Barcelona are openly gushing about how Romero plays, but they've spelled out the position bluntly. Someone leaves first, then we buy. No two ways about it. Inter, meanwhile, did things properly. Met the agent at the end of last week. Offered a 4-year deal. Wages a touch below what he's on in London, but longer terms, the money spread out, but fair. Romero politely said no. Nothing between the clubs either. Tottenham want 43 million quid, though they'll haggle. In fact, Spurs are already open to a loan with an option to buy if the player keeps digging in. They're not holding on to him. They want to lighten the squad and be done with it. Inter didn't fancy waiting forever. The Italians agreed a deal with John Stones. The message is crystal clear. We'll come back to you only if we sell Benjamin Pavard. In other words, don't sit around waiting, Christian. The big sticking point here is money. Romero wants around 5.5 million quid a season. Inter's last offer is nearer 4. Sizable gap, and the talks have hit a wall. And they've hit a wall because Deco showed interest. That alone was enough for the Argentine to stop listening to everyone else. Barca haven't ruled out strengthening the defense before the window shuts. 2 scenarios. 1, bring in an experienced centre-half if someone goes. The most likely to leave are Ronald Araujo or Jules Koundé. 2, sign a young prospect, ideally left-footed. If it's scenario 1, Romero goes straight to the top of the list. and he's got an ace. The Argentine's willing to slash his own wages just so the Catalans can fit inside La Liga's financial rules. The player's offering the club a discount on himself. Time's on Barca's side too. Tottenham want to clear the decks, and Romero's due back for pre-season in London on the 10th of August. That date's coming up fast. At Tottenham, they've made their peace with it. They reckon the captain leaving suits everyone. His people think exactly the same. A few strong years in North London are over, everyone gets it. All that's left is for Barcelona to sell somebody. Romero's sat on his suitcase, staring at his phone. Liverpool have got serious about Bradley Barcola. Salah's gone, the right wing's bare, and the Reds have hit the market with the wallet wide open. The Frenchman from PSG is target number one. The story's gone in the right order. First, they worked on the player and his agent. Nicolo Shearer reckons the two sides have reached an agreement in principle on a 6-year contract through to summer 2032. The player said yes. The winger's happy to move to Merseyside. Small matter left, agreeing with Paris. And that's where the meat is. PSG have slapped a 145 million quid tag on Barcola, a number that has them dropping their pens in the Anfield accounts department. The Parisians look at the money flying around for the likes of Elliot Anderson and Morgan Rogers and draw a simple conclusion: ours is worth more, a lot more. The market logic's ironclad. If your neighbour sold his shed for the price of a villa, you're not letting your villa go cheaper than a shed. But PSG's position is actually shaky. Barcola's made it clear he's not signing a new deal. Less than 2 years left. The player's not happy with his cut-down role in Paris, and he's been saying so for months. He's told the club his decision again. The timing for a split is perfect, and everyone knows it. Liverpool have made their move. According to journalist Akili Ash, the opening offer is 90 million guaranteed plus 13 million in easy add-ons, package of 103 million total. The French media and Sky Germany are saying the same. That's more than 40 million short of PSG's asking price. The Reds will lean on them for a discount. The club reckon that even in the age of mad price tags, there's got to be some room to move. Although, knowing the Parisians, the haggling will be long and nervy. One extra detail: before Barcola, Merseyside wanted Yan Diomande most of all. Nobody put in as much legwork as Liverpool. Studied everything, worked it all out, rang everyone, and got a flick on the nose from Real Madrid. Had to change tack fast. Now the whole lot's aimed at the Frenchman. The plus is Liverpool know exactly where they stand. The player wants them. His people have sent the signals. The seller's price is known to the pound. No fog. The dream scenario for the Reds: close it well below PSG's ask. But the seller calls the shots here. Always does, when it's about Europe's best young forwards. Paris are just sat there, waiting for Liverpool to get tired of arguing.